Developed by Retro Studios and released in 2014, Tropical Freeze manages to resurrect the spirit of the series past, all the while creating something new to add to the formula. With 6 different islands to complete and a cast of lovable characters to meet along the way, there is plenty to do and see. As with the previous game, you primarily take control of Donkey Kong, who is assisted by a companion that can help him out traversing each level through various abilities that complement the gameplay. What makes this feature even better is that a second player can jump in on the action and enjoy the adventure with you. In my opinion, Tropical Freeze is one of the best 2D platformers available on the system. Unlike the original game in the series, which was available for several different systems, Nintendo managed to secure its sequel as a console exclusive. Developed by Platinum Games, Bayonetta 2 carries over the hack and slash style of its predecessor, in which players again take control of Bayonetta. The stylish, off-the-wall action returns in all of its glory, as well as a few new surprises that manage to mix up the gameplay. As you would expect, the controls are solid, shooting and dashing around each environment soon becomes second nature, as well as the more intricate combos and moves that result in some spectacular moments. But where Bayonetta 2 really comes into its own is with its presentation. Each cutscene, boss fight, all have a certain charm to them that all contribute to the on-screen mayhem as it unfolds. With a story mode that spans nearly 10 hours and a ton of collectibles, weapons and costumes to unlock, there's plenty to keep you busy as you make your way through to the end. Pikmin 3 retains all of the gameplay elements of the previous titles, but at the same time adds several new features such as new playable characters and Pikmin types into the mix. The game takes place on a planet known as PNF 404 that is split up into 5 different areas, each with their own distinct style. You take control of 3 characters who can be switched between on the fly, mainly to accomplish your tasks quickly, and utilize each different type's unique abilities in order to traverse various environmental puzzles and enemies. Where Pikmin 3 really excels is with the sheer amount of control options available to the player. Maybe the gamepad or my personal favourite, the Wii Remote, it is highly accessible, resulting in one of the most fun to pick up and play games for the system. But don't be fooled by its childish exterior. Pikmin 3 is a highly strategic game that will test your managing skills to the limit. With the absence of the F-Zero franchise in recent years, it's not surprising at all to see another competitor in the futuristic racing genre. That competitor is Fast Racing Neo, which manages to deliver a truly exceptional experience. What makes it stand out is the unique way in which boosts work in the game. Your vehicle can alternate between 2 different colour states that correspond with coloured markers on each track. The correct colour will reward you with a boost, whilst on the other hand, if you get it wrong, your speed will suffer. With a vast amount of vehicles and tracks to race upon, as well as several modes, and even online multiplayer, there is plenty included for the asking price. To top it off, the game looks fantastic on the Wii U, where it holds a steady 60 frames per second in each race. And like many games for the Wii U, there is also a version of this available for the Nintendo Switch. One of Nintendo's newest franchises sees you filling the shoes of angsty squids known as Inklings. Essentially Nintendo's take on the popular shooter genre, Splatoon offers what at first may seem like a game made for children, but buried underneath its vibrant exterior is an addictive shooter that promotes and rewards those willing to work together, especially in the mode known as Turf War, where instead of the emphasis being on taking out your enemies, it is instead focused on trying to cover as much ground with your ink as possible. This mode is incredibly fun, as well as the other several that comprise the game. Nintendo took a risk with Splatoon. We were a bit worried when it was announced, but it's gone on to become one of the most essential games for the system that deserves a place in your library. Mario Kart 8 takes the tried and tested formula and propels the franchise into the HD era with a bang. All of the characters and tracks return from the series past, as well as a few new ones thrown into the mix that culminates into one of the finest iterations of the series yet. A huge change from the previous iterations of Mario Kart is the introduction of anti-gravity sections on the track. These allow the player to drive on walls or ceilings, as well as providing a quick boost if you bump into them. As fans of the series would expect, there is a huge emphasis on items and a couple of new ones to boot. It goes without saying the easy pick up and play nature of the series is fully present, with a great amount of options when it comes to control. Each vehicle possesses its own characteristics, which can be further customized before each race. Boasting a stellar single player mode that covers 4 separate speed types, as well as local co-op and online multiplayer, there is a huge amount of content included in the release that's sure to satisfy both old and new fans of the franchise alike. Although the Wii U lacks a true 3D Mario adventure, Super Mario World 3D still manages to capture the magic that makes these adventures so memorable. Taking many cues from the 3DS release, you are presented with a generous amount of levels set across many different worlds that all differ from each other. Up to 4 players can enjoy the game with a host of characters including Luigi and Peach, which all possess their own distinct advantages, such as a higher jump and even the ability to float for short periods. It all adds up to an incredible amount of fun, and to be honest, this is where the game is at its best. But if co-op is not your thing, there is still more than enough here to warrant a purchase. Nintendo's flagship brawler released for the Wii U in 2014 and quickly became one of the most critically acclaimed titles available for the system. With a huge roster of characters and techniques to get to grips with, Super Smash Bros. Latest installment in the franchise is a huge leap forward for the series. It improves upon the aspects people loved about Melee and gets rid of the things most hated about Brawl. Graphically, Smash on the Wii U is a real showcase as to what the system can do, with everything running at a blistering 60 frames per second and all in high definition. The series has never looked this good. Unlike most fighting games, Smash does not rely on health bars. Instead, the objective is to knock your opponent off the screen by building up enough damage to do so. That results in some spectacular battles, especially in multiplayer, and to be honest, that's where Smash for the Wii U excels. Sure, there's plenty on offer in the single player modes, but online or good old fashioned local multiplayer is where it's at and where the gameplay really shines. If you're a fan of the series past, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U retains everything that made the classics so memorable and celebrates them in a highly stylish, fun way. Super Mario Maker is essentially every Mario fan's dream. For years we wondered what it would be like to design and create our own levels for our favourite Italian plumber to jump around in, and thankfully Nintendo delivered the goods. They produced one of the most robust level designers out there, with an insane amount of options on offer when it comes to both designing and building your own courses. A huge array of enemy types, blocks and traps can be placed onto the screen, whilst utilising the stylus control method, which really does come into its own here, and with the ability to access uploaded courses from the community, essentially adds up to a never-ending Mario adventure. Although Super Mario Bros. Wii U is available on the system as well, which in all honesty is a great 2D platformer in its own right, but due to the sheer wealth of content available, I would recommend Super Mario Maker instead. Released for both the Wii U and Nintendo Switch, Breath of the Wild offers up the most engrossing and memorable Zelda adventure we've seen in quite some time. Gone are the obstacles that block your progress, and if you're feeling ballsy enough, you can literally go straight to the final boss and complete the adventure before it even begins. One glaring change is the lack of traditional dungeons. In their place are locations called shrines, challenging the player with various puzzles that take advantage of the game's impressive physics engine. The introduction of outfits also differs from past experiences in the series. This level of freedom within a Zelda game is the breath of fresh air the series needed, as well as the focus on freedom. A new aspect was introduced with Breath of the Wild in the form of cooking that has the ability to grant the player varying effects, such as your stamina lasting longer or even allowing you to endure the cold for longer periods of time. It really adds something fresh to the formula. This one's a no-brainer, and if you've never played one of these games before, this is the perfect one to get into.